Hello, I'm the Hard Times guy. And I'm out here in the Sojourner room. Been out here all day cleaning and getting ready for the 4th of July. We're going to have our family and some friends here on the 4th of July. And we've been doing that for several years now. It's kind of a tradition. I think Heather and Tim started it when they lived over on 16th Street, and it followed them out to where they live now, but then they closed in their carport and turned it into a garage. Didn't have room for it, and Betty and I inherited it. It's been here ever since. A little different this year because Betty's recovering from surgery and she's not able to do everything. And to tell you the truth, when we had that 30 to 50 people out here, she did damn near all of it. But made new rules this year, and the girls are going to do it all. Betty can just sit on her hands and grin at them. But I've been getting the room ready. I've been working out here for a while, and I had all my stuff all over the place, and it was dirty and messy. And some of it's still here. I just piled it up over on that table where I usually shoot videos, and I'm not even going to take it out of here. I'm just going to explain the rules to the great grandkids when they get here about how they got to stay away from that table. And we're just going to go right ahead and have it without cleaning that mess up. I just kind of organized it over there in one place. But I'm down to just the fine points now. Just got to unrun the sweeper. Decided to make a little video before I pack it in, go down to the house. Checked on Betty a while ago. She's still okay. Been some things going on. Two things, actually, caught my attention this morning when I was catching up on my emails and looked at the comments on my last video and doing some stuff like that this morning before I left the house. Things I do when I'm drinking my coffee in the morning and getting started, getting organized. We have a thing in our county that it's a local Facebook group, and people that are from this county but live other places, California, Florida, who knows. They like to look at the group because and then people that just moved in here, they like to learn history that they didn't know about. But it's called, I think, Lawrence County, Indiana, then and now, and people post pictures and stories and ask questions about buildings and things and people and places. And I want to talk about a thing that showed up there today, or it might have showed up yesterday, but I just saw it today. I might mention, I'm going to give Ron Bortner a plug too. He used to live around the corner from Betty and I back in the early 1970s, about a block and a half away. And him and his wife kept our kids, or some of them, when we went to Mardi Gras in New Orleans in, I think, 1972. But he's a photographer. I don't know whether to say he's a professional or an amateur photographer, but he's one of those two, and he's damn good. And he takes some really nice pictures of things, and he puts a lot of those on Lawrence County then and now for us to enjoy. And I'm going to say thank you, Ron Bortner, because I enjoy every picture you put on there. I think you do a fine job. He had one on there today or yesterday, and he called it Saddle Barn Road Bridge. I wouldn't have called it that, but that's what he called it. Some people asked, where is this? If he'd have called it what I'd have called it, they wouldn't have been asking him where it was. They'd have known where it was. But I would have called that the Old Tunnelton Road Bridge. It's an iron bridge. Where Tunnelton Road leaves US 50 at the bottom of the hill on the east side of Bedford, it turns right and goes to the first place you run into is Otis Park, the golf course entrance on the left, and we've got a new little park down there. It used to be part of Otis Park. They call it something else now. It's on the right. Actually, you turn on that road to go in that little park and then turn sharply back to the right and go across that bridge. Tunnelton Road used to come off the highway and go down the hill there and go through that bridge years ago. I don't know when they changed that and built that new bridge, but that used to be the bridge on Tunnelton Road across Leatherwood Creek. That's what I'd still call it. The old iron bridge on Old Tunnelton Road, because that's really not the road to the saddle barn. Road to the saddle barn turned off that road to the south. Now that road just runs into the saddle barn road, and so I guess they call it the saddle barn road because it extends out there. But I think there's a little gap of Old Tunnelton Road between New Tunnelton Road and the saddle barn road. I wasted a lot of time telling you all that and didn't need to. I want to talk about that bridge. I got a story about it. And once again, I don't know exactly when this story took place, but I want to guess early 1960s. Probably 1960 or 1961. Could have been as late as 1962, but I don't think so. I think it was 60 or 61. And I date this by, first of all, when this story occurred, I didn't have my driver's license, and I got my driver's license in 1963. I know I didn't have my driver's license because I was walking to Otis Park. I was going to the swimming pool. I lived on the east side of Bedford on East 15th Street, and we usually went to Thornton Pool because we didn't have to leave town. We could stay in town to walk there. But occasionally, especially when I got a little older, my parents would let me go walk east on 50 and go to Otis Park and Otis Park swimming pool. And that's where I was going this day. And I can't tell you who was with me. I wished I could. Can't remember. I really think it was probably somebody that couldn't help me anyway because they're already dead. Jay Morrison or Guy Strike, or maybe both of them. But I don't know for sure. If you're living and hearing this story and it was you, get hold of me. Talk to me about it. But whoever it was, we was going down through there and we approached that bridge just like that bridge appears in the picture. If you're looking at it in that picture that Ron Bortner took, you're entering the west end of that bridge. And you're looking at it from west to east. So on the right side of that bridge, where the right side of it goes up towards the top and then levels off, that's where this all started. I decided I was going to get up on top of that bridge and walk across up there. For the love of God, if you're one of my grandkids or great-grandkids, I'm going to tell you that was one of the dumbest things I ever did. That was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. Could have killed myself. Don't think, well, Papa Luke did it, I'm going to do something like that too. You don't have to be stupid because I was stupid once. But that day I decided that I was going to go up at the side of that bridge, get on top and walk across. And that's why I think maybe Jay Morrison was with me. Because even if I'd had an idea like that, I'd like to think that I'd overcome it and thought, that's not too bright, I'm not going to do that. So I think maybe Jay was with me because Jay was the kind of guy that just loved something like that. He would see opportunity in that. Oh boy, it's a win-win for me, he'd think. Luke's going to go up that bridge, and if he gets across it, I'm his friend. I can tell everybody I saw it, I was there. I was a part of the great feat of him walking across the top of that bridge. But if for some reason he don't make it, I can say the same thing. I could say, that dumb Luke, he went up there and he got all messed up because he got up there on top of that bridge. He couldn't get across. And there he was, hugging that bridge like a whimpering little girl because he got scared up there. Jay would have loved either one of those situations. And so he would have been somebody that said, look, that's a great idea. Get on up there. I'll stand right here and cheer you on. I'll be your witness. At any rate, that's what I did. And it doesn't look like it, but it's fairly easy. I don't know what the angle of that slanted part of the bridge is, but if you're a young boy, and I think I was about 13 or 14, fairly athletic, in pretty decent shape, you could get right on that. You could get a hold of that bridge rail like this. It had big rivets that were about 2.5, 3 inches around on the heads, and they made bumps all the way up through there to give you a foothold, and you could just walk right up that, holding up in front of you like you're going up a ladder, like just doing this and stepping on those rivets, and I went right to the top. It was easy. And when I got up there, I just walked right into position. There I was standing there. And I thought, wow, this was pretty easy. It ain't too far across there. I think this is going to be all right. And I started out across there. Wasn't counting on what happened next. Here come a car. I'm going to talk about this car too, because this car is part of what dates this story. It's the reason I think it was 1960 or 61. It could have been even as early as 1959, but I don't think so. I think it was 60 or 61. Because I had a friend at school, and she was a new friend. Her name was Barbara. Barbara Edmonds. Her dad was a local doctor. And she was in my grade. Whatever grade that was, 7th or 8th grade probably. We went to the same school together, and we were friends. And she was an attractive young lady. And popular. Everybody liked her. She was I don't know, I think she was a cheerleader for the ball teams and in the local club for girls, and just cute as a button. She's kind of a tomboy too. She'd kick a football farther than I could. But I digress. Barbara Edmonds. Her family had a brand new convertible. I don't know whether it was her brothers or sisters or whether it was their family car or something their dad bought, but they had a brand new Studebaker Lark convertible. And those came out, I think, in 1959. They just lasted maybe 3 or 4 years. They were gone by 1963 or 4. So that helps me date this. It was pale yellow, and I guess they were going to the golf course or the swimming pool or somewhere. But that convertible come down off US 50 and into that bridge and started across that bridge. And when it started across that bridge started moving more than I liked, with me standing up there in the middle of it. And I immediately dropped to a sitting position with my legs on either side of that rail and got hold of it. And they evidently saw me as they approached the bridge, because they stopped right in the middle of it and looked up. And I can't tell you for sure, but I think it was her brother. His name was Jim. And he's about 4 years older than us. And then I think her sister was in there too. And I don't know how old she was, because I think she was already out of school before Jim was a senior. I think her name was Carol, but I can't remember that for sure. They were in the front seat, and I can't tell which one of them was driving, but they were both in the front seat, and Barb was in the back seat behind the driver. And she was looking up there at me like, you little dummy. What in the world are you doing up there? And I don't know, I think it was her brother asked me a question like that. What in the heck you think you're doing up there? Well, I was trying to walk across this bridge, but you guys come along and I had to sit down because you was shaking the bridge. And I tried to stand up and continue my walk, but I couldn't do it. Boy, do you ever get to a place where, I mean, it's like I was doing fine till I looking out across there and walking across the bridge. But when I got down and then had to get back up from a sitting position, straddling that rail after I'd already been frightened, now I'm looking down, things look a whole lot more serious than they did before, and I could not get my knees were knocking. My confidence was gone, and I couldn't stand up. I couldn't have stood up then to save my life. And there I was, teenage boy, in the worst position a teenage boy could ever find himself in. I was in an embarrassing position and couldn't do a thing about it. And one of the most popular girls in my school, good-looking girl, was sitting down there in the convertible looking up at me, thinking I was a fool. I don't know whether that's what she was thinking or not, but that's what she should have been thinking, because I was a fool. Just won't tell that little story. I don't tell stories like that on myself very often, where I'm the one that did something dumb. For a lot of years I tried to make my kids think I was the smartest man ever and never did anything dumb, but they found out. So that's a little story I sat down there to tell you today. And that started because I saw a picture of that bridge on Lawrence County, Indiana, then and now. And then I saw something else on television this morning that set me off. And I'm going to end this little video with that. There was a poll somewhere. Somebody conducted a poll. And if you're like me, you don't think too much of polls. I could usually care less what they say happened or what the results of a poll they took somewhere was. But this one caught my attention. It said 67% of people surveyed, I don't know who these people were, but some random group, I think. 67% of the people surveyed said they believed that the United States was the best place on earth to live. 67%, 2 out of 3 people. And the significant thing about that, they said, was just a few years ago, they conducted this same poll, and 80% of the people surveyed said the United States of America was the greatest place on earth to live. And now they're wondering how in the world we got from 80% of the people thinking that to 67%. And I'm thinking, what a bunch of morons. Don't you watch television? Don't you listen to what's going on in the world? 80 or 90% of every news story, every news organization on the planet is telling you that you live, if you live in the United States, that you live in a crappy place. It's no good. It was founded by a bunch of racist bigots. And you're a victim of it probably. And they can't find anything good to say about it. All they want to do is complain, all of them. They want to complain about everything. And they want to compare us to every other thing that they think's better. But then when they conduct a poll, it says people are starting to believe what they're saying. They're surprised. How did this happen? Or what happened that made us not any good anymore is the real question they're asking. And they don't, crime. I mean, would you go to a city? I'm a country boy. I don't like going to cities anyway. I don't even like going out on West 16th Street in Bedford, Indiana on Friday night because there's too many people out there running around. I for sure don't like going to cities. But it's not even safe to go to a city anymore. People getting murdered. Now, I'm not really worried about getting murdered. I'm worried about being an innocent bystander got killed by a stray bullet. All the news stories say that we're a piece of crap nation and it ain't worth living here. You ought to be protesting and burning places down to make it better. And then the colleges, they teach the same thing in colleges, and they got all these theories and that they're teaching. young people. I'm not going to mention any of them. You know what they all are. And if you think, if you think like me, you're a racist or a homophobe or there's something bad wrong with you, a white supremacist, a domestic terrorist. I'm a domestic terrorist, according to some of my liberal poker playing buddies. Now they're even wanting to put it in our high schools. We're having this, I wouldn't have believed it in Lawrence County, but yeah, they're wanting to put this same kind of nonsense on the curriculum in our high schools, and even down to my 6-year-old great-grandson. They're wanting to teach in sex. I'm not even going to talk about that. Not even going to say that. I live in the United States of America. State of Indiana, County of Lawrence, near the city of Bedford. I think it's the greatest place on earth to live and raise kids and do whatever you want to do. You're going to have a hard time convincing me otherwise, because I'm 74 years old and I've had a great life here. Not because I had any kind of privilege, but for the choices I made and the things that I did to work towards my goals. And you can do it. Anybody can do it in this great country of ours. I live here. I believe what I just told you, and I love this country. I'm a hard times guy. Till the next time, you have a good day.